I'm Michael lah. Today I'm going to present about stroke thrombolysis. The definition of stroke is defined by clinical syndrome lah, characterized by the rapidly developing clinical symptoms and also sign of focal at the time of global loss of cerebral function with symptoms lasting more than 24 hours lah, which can leading to death with no other apparent cause other than vascular origin lah. So it must be more than 24 hour baru kita cakap stroke. Less than 24 hour yang resolve dia punya symptom kita panggil transient ischemic stroke. Transient ischemic attack, TIA lah. So for the diagnosis of stroke is actually the clinical presentation varies according to the site of lesions about different side of the brain. They are responsible for different function. So for example like middle cerebral artery punya territory, dia kalau stroke akan develop aphasia, hemiparesis, hemiplegia, hemisensory loss, homonymous hemianopia. Kalau dia involve dominant parietal lobe, dia akan cause asteronosis yang kata dia tak boleh rasa, dia tak boleh identify the object by feeling. Graphethisia tu dia tak boleh identify yang kita tulis atas tangan dia lah. Contohnya kita tulis A ke 3 ke, dia tak boleh nak identify the number ataupun alphabet. Lepas tu akan ada impact 2-point discrimination, sensory and visual inattention and also left-right dissociation dengan acalculia. Hal ni untuk middle cerebral artery lah. Kalau anterior cerebral artery dia akan ada weakness, lower limb more than the upper limb. So kalau posterior pula dia more toward like kacau kita punya cerebral function lah, macam ataxia, dizziness, dysarthria, diplopia, dysphagia, Horner syndrome, semua tu. And also patient kalau involve cerebella akan ada cerebella sign lah. So ini territory kita yang from vertex to the skull base lah. Yang kuning ni anterior cerebral artery, yang merah ni middle, dia akan turun. So bawah sikit kita ada involve posterior cerebral artery punya territory pula lah. So from the CT scan kita boleh agak-agak tahu yang culprit punya cerebral artery yang mana satu kalau nampak ada infarct. So now down toward the cerebella akan nampak ada basilar artery, superior cerebellar artery yang involved lah. So yang thrombolysis for ischemic stroke yang dia punya flowchart lebih kurang macam ni lah. So pre-hospital management, that mean like kalau yang pre-hospital care tu dapat call macam suspect yang acute ischemic stroke yang within the perfusion window tu kena ada high priority ambulance dispatch. Lepas tu pre-hospital screening dan assessment. Before sampai ke hospital dia sepatutnya kena inform hospital dululah ETA bila ada patient ni suspect acute ischemic stroke. Kalau
fast tu apa? Fast scan ke?
Tak ada, bukan.
So yang Amin jelaskan kat kawan-kawan lah. Kot kalau kawan-kawan ingat fast scan ke.
Tak, yang fast tu apa yang
apa dia?
Facial asymmetry, okay. Dia ada tu apa dah? Facial asymmetry, S tu aphasia.
Bukan.
Bukan.
Hakim membawa tu ke jalan yang sesat.
Brief, I think.
Lepas tu S tu apa? Apa dah? Speech. Slurred speech. Lepas tu T tu apa dah?
T bukan tu lah.
Bukan.
Okay, so fast ni untuk mengelakkan confusion lah. Jangan ingat fast scan. Fast ni merujuk kepada the screening, pre-hospital screening and assessment. And sometimes this is something that we teach patient. Faham? Apa yang kita ajar kepada public untuk recognize stroke. F merujuk kepada face, facial asymmetry. A merujuk kepada arm, arm weakness. Think simple je. S speech abnormality. And T is time kena call ambulance cepat-cepat lah. Maksudnya kena identify the time. So for patient, for public, kita akan ajar benda ni lah. So if you develop this facial asymmetry or arm weakness, or speech abnormality, immediately call ambulance because that is a sign of stroke. This is something that memang macam kita ajar public lah, macam you know, macam ajar CPR kat public apa semua kan. So FAST ni merujuk kepada untuk kita tahu, untuk kita do screening so that kita tahu patient ni stroke ke tak. And it's the same thing for the pre-hospital care. Bila respond to ni, dia akan buat this FAST punya assessment lah. So kalau one of the FAST is positive, maksudnya dia suspect this patient ada stroke. So dia akan ni lah, dia akan bagi tahu kat kita punya, akan bagi tahulah, okay, we've got a patient with suspected stroke nak datang, ETA sekian. Okay, so sebab tu dia cakap suspected AIS within reperfusion window tu, nanti mungkin tu akan bagi tahulah berapa lama reperfusion window. Tapi T tu also refer to call time, ambulance immediately, time lah, call 999 lah immediately so that patient boleh datang ke hospital. Or kalau untuk konteks pre-hospital care team, time ETA, time dan sebagainya. Okay, so kena tahu juga sebab kadang-kadang patient akan bagi tahu you, oh saya buat fast test tu positif. Then awak pula mungkin terpegun lah, oh patient buat fast scan kat rumah. So jangan macam tu lah. Kena tahu juga, benda simple je. Okay, carry on.
Okay, so if yang ambulans yang pergi tu macam contohnya dari hospital C ke hospital Yan ke, sepatutnya mereka kena prepare siap ambulans untuk hantar patient ke stroke ready hospital lah. Lepas tu sampai ke ED kena buat fast track assessment. Fast track assessment dia mean like tak payah tunggu giliran lah, dia akan jadi priority. Kena assess by MO ataupun physician lah. Kita buat basic punya airway breathing circulation assessment, basic history examination, and then kalau patient within the perfusion window which is 4.5 hour from the onset, kita boleh activate stroke team dengan inform radiology department lah. Tapi hospital kita only activate stroke team during office hour lah.
Yes. Untuk HESA just a bit about the local lah, so that yang penting sebenarnya korang tahu local procedure lah. Sejak COVID ni, so far stroke thrombolysis is being suspended. Okay, kena clear benda tu dulu lah. Sejak kita case COVID kita worsen, sejak zaman-zaman COVID ni lah, I think dah a year and a bit. So this stroke thrombolysis punya program ni or protocol ni is being suspended lah. Sebab susah nak dapat, biasalah nak dapat CT scan, nak RTK lah, semua in the end the timing tu akan lari. So tapi dalam with case of COVID coming down, they are considering nak restart balik lah. So the reperfusion window tu berapa lama tu?
4.5 hours.
4.5 hours.
4 jam setengah.
So kalau untuk kita ambil dalam 3 jam setengah atau 4 jam lah. So if the patient arrive within, the symptom started within 1 or 2 hours, so kita akan activate lah, or even 3 hours lah sometimes. So one of the thing about stroke protocol ni, it involves a lot of teams. Bukan just ED, bukan just medical. Sebab kita stroke team kita dari medical lah. Okay, so what the role of ED ni, satu adalah to recognize that this patient stroke lah or suspect stroke. Yang kedua, the role nak fast track assessment. This is not the sort of patient that you want to take history 30 minit, examine full neurological exam. No. This is a patient that you want to take a brief history. Brief history tu maksudnya nak kena tahu start pukul berapa, whether this is a wake up stroke or whether the symptom exactly start pukul berapa and what is the symptom, and to rule out simple things like hypoglycemia which can mimic stroke. Kan? And to ensure that the patient will survive going to CT scan lah. That's why the ABC assessment ni. Kan? Kalau korang tak assess airway, breathing, circulation ni, takutnya terus hantar CT scan, mati kat CT scan. You need to ensure that the patient survive. Pergi CT scan, balik CT scan, stroke team nak tengok dan sebagainya. Patient is not in any immediate danger or ada life-threatening condition that need to be treated kan. So first nak kena confirm balik whether it's actually stroke, bukan benda-benda macam hypoglycemia dan semua. So kena terus tengok lah patient. Sebab kalau kita most of the time PHC team akan inform ada satu patient stroke nak mai, so you aware. Sometimes dia orang bawa je kan, so you need to, and dia orang mungkin tak pick up that the patient might be having stroke. So bila korang assess tu, korang pick up, oh this might be a stroke patient. So and then need to rule out benda-benda macam hypoglycemia, benda-benda simple lah. And then you need to activate stroke team and radiology. And activate tu kena bagi tahulah, sebab kena cakap we need CT scan for kita nak activate stroke protocol. Sebab pihak radiology pun dah aware patient yang nak masuk dalam stroke protocol ni will be given priority because they need to have a CT scan within half an hour of arrival. So our job is to inform them and to facilitate patient tu pergi CT scan within half an hour. And to activate stroke team, the moment you decide patient ni nak masuk dalam stroke protocol. Sebab kita tak nak tunggu result lah dan sebagainya. And kalau kat kisah, lab pun kena inform that we got a stroke protocol punya patient. Sebab dia akan fast track kan blood test this patient. So biasanya kena run lah, hantar sample tu pergi lab, then lab akan run the sample as quickly as possible for stroke protocol. Sebab kita nak kejar dia 4.5 hours reperfusion window tu. Dia very time sensitive, so everybody needs to know their role and perform the role accordingly lah, so that boleh kejar 4.5, especially kalau patient tu datang borderline kan, 3 jam 2 jam setengah kan, so nak kejar the 4.5 hours window period tu lah. Of course with COVID apa semua tu, window period tu lah jadi problem kan. Nak RTK pun dah 1.5 jam. Kalau patient dah mai at 3 hours, out dah lah dia punya window period tu. So this is a suggestion ni daripada CPG, tapi local punya protokol pun kena aware lah, sebab dia akan ada slight differences lah. Okay, carry on.
Okay, lepas tu the job scope of the stroke team, okay lah, for activation Risa kita kena call operator bagi tahu, dan siapa akan kena inform, medical first call, physician on call, radio MO, radiographer, hematolab dengan MO blood bank lah, sebab kita takut complication. So MO blood bank kena aware jugalah ada stroke thrombolysis protocol activated. So role of stroke team is to ascertain the history dengan finding, basically to establish the diagnosis of acute ischemic stroke, perform yang NIHSS scoring ni untuk tengok the severity of the stroke, exclude contraindication, review imaging, lepas tu making decision lah whether nak bagi IV thrombolysis ke tak. Lepas tu post IV thrombolysis kena close monitor and admit patient to the close monitoring unit lah, contohnya CCU ataupun ICU lah.
Okay.
So yang ni recommended time lah for door to medical consult time less than 10 minutes, door to neuro consult time should be less than 50 minutes lah. That means like from door to kita activate stroke team tu ideally should be less than 15 minutes. Lepas tu CT scan should be done within 25 minutes, and kalau memang nak buat thrombolysis within 60 minutes lah. Yang door to needle, yang door to groin times ni, ini untuk yang thrombectomy punya, which is not available in our hospital lah.
Betul.
Okay, so yang who is eligible for this IV thrombolysis, which is patient diagnosis dia acute ischemic stroke dengan dia punya presentation must be within 4.5 hours lah. I mean like by the time kita bagi IV thrombolysis tu should be less than 4.5 hours. And for patient with wake up stroke, actually we consider the onset of stroke from the last known to be normal. Contohnya dia tidur pukul 10 masa tu okey lagi, bangun pukul 8 dah macam facial asymmetric, kita consider the onset as pukul 10. Tapi actually from the CPG dia ada kata kalau ada MRI show ada yang dua way image dengan flare ada mismatch tu boleh consider juga, but yang ni macam not practical sangat dekat hospital kita.
How likely are you gonna get urgent MRI within half an hour?
Itulah, so macam tak practical dengan hospital kita lah. And also the yang plain CT ataupun MRI must have no hemorrhage lah. Lepas tu yang tak ada contraindication which I will explain later, and also thrombolysis shall not be withheld for aphasic patient who cannot give consent lah. I mean like thrombolysis tu jangan delay sangat. Kalau yang aphasic tu mungkin kita boleh kalau dia boleh baca semua dia still boleh sign consent tu lah.
Okay, so about CT scan tu, the reason kita nak CT scan within half an hour tu bukan nak tengok stroke kita nak tengok whether patient ada ICB or not. Tu je. So the CT scan may be normal, tapi you just go by clinical lah. This stroke thrombolysis ni is a go by clinical. The reason kita nak plain CT tu just nak rule out whether this is a hemorrhagic or whether it's a hemorrhagic stroke lah, because thrombolizing hemorrhagic stroke won't end well for everyone lah. Okay.
Lepas tu yang absolute contraindication, that mean like ada benda-benda ni memang tak boleh bagi, which is like pre-treatment BP, hypertension lah, more than 185 and over 110, ataupun hypoglycemia with a blood glucose of less than 2.7 lah. So tapi kalau dah macam dah reverse, boleh consider bagi juga. Lepas tu kalau patient ada on low weight molecular heparin, which is the Glaxine within 24 hours, ada the use of unfractionated heparin for the past 24 hours dengan prolonged APTT, basically is the patient at risk of bleeding, kita tak bagilah. Yang prolonged APTT, INR.
So this is where history tu, bila kita cakap history tu, nak kena ambil history kan, for patient yang nak brief history tu, these are among the history that you need to ascertain lah. History of drug use, bukan semua drug tapi specific drug use lah, whether patient on anticoagulant ke, patient on low molecular weight heparin ke, patient ada history of thrombocytopenia ke. And this is also why kena activate juga blood bank lab. So kita coagulation dengan FVC tu especially important, nak tahu cepat kan. Manalah tahu kod patient tu actually dengue ke, platelet 20 ke, then you don't want to thrombolize this patient as well. Okay. So bila kita kata brief history tu, these are among the important history that you need to ascertain lah. Okay.
So kalau patient ada on dabigatran, kena reverse dia punya anticoagulant effect lah dengan idarucizumab. The rest semua yang mean like is the abnormal blood test lah yang prone to bleeding.
Kita ada ke idarucizumab ni?
Tak pernah tengok lagi lah.
It's very expensive. Idarucizumab ni lah. So tak apalah, carry on.
Okay. Yang relative contraindication, yang serious injury for the previous past 3 months, atau recent stroke within the past 3 months, recent MI within 8 weeks, ada GI ataupun GU punya bleeding for the past 3 weeks, ada major surgery. This all very broad lah, very macam plain lah.
It's roughly the same as contraindication for thrombolysis patient MI lah.
Betul.
Kan, kalau korang, it's almost similar lah. The relative contraindication, it's basically patient macam moderate risk of bleeding. Okay, so tak apalah. Okay, be aware lah
yang
benda-benda ni.
Yang seizure at the time of onset ni nak bagi boleh, tapi kita kena make sure lah yang dia punya impairment tu is because of the stroke, bukan sebab seizure. And kalau patient HD pun tak boleh, pregnant up to 10 day postpartum pun kita macam relative contraindicated lah. And yang regime kita bagi kat HESA ni, kita bagi Altiplase, which is the dose 0.9 mg per kg lah, with the maximum dose of 90 mg. Kita bagi 10% bolus, and the rest over the 60 minute lah. Contoh patient 50 kg, total kita kena bagi 45 mg. So 10% which is at 4.5 mg kita bagi as bolus, lepas tu the rest of 40.5 mg kita bagi over 1 hour lah. Ya, other than Altiplace tu kita ada agent lain yang boleh consider Tenactiplace lah.
Kalau kat Hesa ni kita pakai Altiplace je lah. Nah,
Altiplace je lah.
we don't use Altiplace ke Altiplace. So
Altiplace.
part protokol kat Hesa ni pakai Altiplace je lah, tak pakai benda lain. And decision nak bagi tu is up to stroke team lah. I think as part of protocol, kalau dululah sebelum layout change apa semua, bagi thrombolysis ni akan bagi dekat critical bay. So masuk kat situ akan under monitoring semualah. Yang akan bagi adalah the primary team. And then even before they decide nak bagi tu, there should be an ICU or CCU bed ready for the patient lah. Sebab lepas bagi je, patient akan terus naik lah. So dia tak boleh, kalau macam tak ada ICU or CCU bed, dia orang takkan bagilah. Tapi however it is, they will adakan lah. So I think I think last couple of days ke yesterday ke, they did try to activate one stroke thrombolysis lah. Bukan officially they dah start the program, because the patient tu is one of the MO punya father or something like that lah. So kalau siapa yang kerja semalam mungkin aware lah. So eventually I think with the number of COVID case berkurang ni, akan they probably gonna restart the program lah. Okay. Okay, carry on.
Okay. Lepas tu post thrombolysis kan, macam Dr. Faris kata, patient kena admit to intensive care unit lah ataupun stroke unit. Kalau hospital kita CCU dengan ICU je lah. Kita tak ada stroke punya ward. Lepas tu kita kena repeatedly perform dia punya neurological assessment lah, every 15 minutes during the infusion, 1 hour post thrombolysis, dengan every 30 minutes lah for the next 4 hours until 24 hours after kita bagi thrombolysis. Kenapa kita kena repeatedly perform dia punya neurological assessment? Sebab kita takut ada bleed lah, ICB. So if the patient ada develop severe headache, acute hypertension, nausea, vomiting, yang which is indicate increase ICP, ataupun ada increase the NHS scoring by 4, ataupun reduction of GCS by 2, kita by this time kita kena suspect ada complication which is the bleeding. Kita kena discontinue the infusion and then repeat CT brain to look for ICB. And also in the post thrombolysis care, kita kena close monitoring dia punya BP, so that dia punya BP less than 180 over 105. Lepas tu admit, kita kalau dia hypertension tu more than 180 dan 105 tu kita kena bagi antihypertensive yang I akan explain nanti. Lepas tu kita kena delay placement of whatever NG tube ataupun yang invasive punya tube lah. Contohnya NG tube, kita punya CBD ataupun arterial line. Lepas tu kita kena avoid bagi antiplatelet dengan anticoagulant for the first 24 hour after kita bagi thrombolyze. And CT brain kita kena repeat balik lah, first to rule out ICB, second to look for dia punya transformation of the ischemic zone macam mana. So kalau patient BP more than 180 and 110 tu kita kena buat apa? Kalau before kita bagi thrombolyze, kita nak thrombolyze just that patient BP tinggi, kita boleh turunkan BP and then continue dengan thrombolysis. Kita boleh bagi labetalol 10 to 20 mg bolus lah, then repeated, boleh repeated once lah, ataupun ada agent lain, nicardipine, GTN. And kalau patient ongoing thrombolysis ataupun after thrombolysis patient BP is high, kita boleh bagi IV labetalol 5 to 10 mg bolus dengan subsequently continuous IV infusion 2 to 8 mg per minute. Yang maximum labetalol bolus is 300 mg lah. Yang agent lain contoh nicardipine ataupun nitroprusside, jarang-jarang kita pakai lah. So possible complication of IV thrombolysis, one of it is the bleeding. So first yang kita kena buat, kita kena stop altiplate infusion, repeat urgent CT brain lah to look for to look for evidence of ICB, repeat kita punya blood investigation, FBC, dia punya coag, lepas tu ambil siap-siap GXM in case need to transfuse lah, control BP, IV cryoprecipitate kalau coagulation profile di range, platelet pun sama kalau platelet rendah ke, and kalau ada ICB tu kena consult neurosurgical team. Ini semua actually kerja primary team lah, yang stroke team lah.
Apa, kot lah korang jadi MO medical ke, part of stroke team nanti tahulah, you know. Sekarang ni memanglah kerja stroke team, tapi you know, later lah kot jadi part of the stroke team. Okay.
And ni macam sama lah, kalau coagulation state abnormal, refer hematology team. Lepas tu kalau life threatening bleeding, kita boleh consider bagi tranexamic acid ataupun recombinant factor 7 punya yang coagulation factor tu lah.
Okay, another complication, recombinant factor ni is the more high-fi, fancy, expensive drug lah. Usually it's macam last ditch attempt lah. Kalau bleeding tu uncontrolled. Okay.
Lepas tu another possible complications angioedema lah, yang kita paling takut angioedema ni kalau kita punya airway swollen and then obstruct kita punya airway. So first kita kena stop dia punya thrombolysis juga, lepas tu maintain dia punya airway breathing dengan circulation lah. Medication kita boleh bagi IV diphenhydramine 50 mg, ranitidine 50 mg. Kalau tak ada improvement, kita boleh bagi methotrexate ataupun subcut epinephrine. And kalau airway memang tak boleh nak secure sangat, kita kena minta tolong ENT ataupun NS team lah.
Yalah.
Yang
so that's why masa bagi tu macam cakap tadi, they do it dekat critical bay lah. They do it at critical bay, and they'll be the stroke team will be by the patient's bedside lah throughout the procedure bagi alteplase tu. And usually airway punya kit, airway punya trolley, emergency trolley semua is around lah, sebab takut all this complication occurs lah. Okay.
And this is the outcome of IV thrombolysis lah. Ni satu systemic review buat on 2012, where depa actually buat give IV thrombolysis within 6 hours. Even within 6 hours pun dia punya outcome ada increase number of people who are treated, ada favorable outcome dengan dia punya death tu actually tak significant lah. Lepas tu yang patient, most of the patient yang LO bila bagi thrombolysis ni sebab ada symptomatic ICB. So conclusion dia, IV altiplase ni actually increase the proportion of patient who are alive with favorable outcome and life independent lah. So it's a good thing. And ada satu video yang tunjuk pre and post thrombolysis.
Dekat Hesah ke ni?
Hesah.
Oh, ya ke?
Kita nampak patient ni actually cannot tahan the hand for 10 seconds. I think this patient was 2 years back kot, masa saya still dekat medical.
Yalah, sebelum COVID lah.
Sebelum COVID.
2 years ago lah.
And ni cara prepare altiplase lah.
Good, excellent.
And this one post thrombolysis.
Immediately
can see the neurological
how
function.
many days after? Sebab nampak dah orang lain dah ni kat sebelah dia ni.
This one dah masuk CCU dah.
Yelah, I think within how many hours? Ingat tak? Lebih kurang lah. Ke the day after?
I think the next day kot.
Okay.
This one the morning round of the next day.
Sure. Good. Excellent.
You can see the makcik actually can tahan, can hold up the hand. The neurological function is recovering lah. Okay, ini sajalah ini saja presentation saya. Any question?
Ada soalan kepada Toh? Hakim dah sampai angkasa lepas lah. Daripada tepi pantai sampai angkasa lepas. Okay, so with regards to stroke thrombolysis, be aware lah, tak semua hospital offer this service lah. Ikutlah nanti korang keluar. So, even dalam state of Kedah rasanya, kita je, Alustar, Kulim semua tak offer. Even Penang pun, Seberang Jaya only offer. Penang GH tak ada offer stroke thrombolysis. It's very much dependent lah. I think the evidence yang Toh tunjuk tadi is one of the recent evidence lah yang suggest that you can extend the reperfusion window tu to up to 6 hours kan. Patient yang present within 6 hours pun ada some benefit, although the benefit is most appreciated if they present in less than 4 hours. Tapi be aware, because there are also evidence to suggest that there's no difference you bagi thrombolysis or tak bagi thrombolysis. So bergantunglah kepada your neurologist percaya evidence yang mana lah. So kalau bagi contoh state of Penang, the neurologist dekat Seberang Jaya believe in stroke thrombolysis. The neurologist dekat Penang GH doesn't believe in stroke thrombolysis. That's why despite them actually having neurosurgeon in-house, diorang tak initiate this stroke thrombolysis program. It's not sometimes just logistic lah. Sometimes different people will view the evidence differently. So some people will not believe that stroke thrombolysis is beneficial lah. So jangan terkejut lah. Pergi mana-mana tak semua tempat-tempat, kadang-kadang tempat-tempat yang besar tak offer stroke thrombolysis. Tapi tempat-tempat kecil kadang-kadang ada offer stroke thrombolysis. It's the evidence tu people can argue both ways lah. Tapi the aim of this CME ni, so that you're aware lah about the stroke thrombolysis protocol dekat HESA. And what's your role in that stroke thrombolysis tu? The aim for us, kita need to facilitate lah. Basically the early part, facilitate the suspicion and facilitate CT scan and activate the stroke team and ensure that bloods and lab are all activated. Sebab without those things in place, dia akan delay. Yang kedua, korang aware tak stroke protocol ni dia ada file or folder macam MTP punya file folder where all the forms and everything is in there. Cubalah cari-cari dan tengoklah. Ada. Dr. Hafiza juga buat. Ada. Siap semua borang semua apa yang keperluan korang semua dah ada dalam tu. So kalau kau activate stroke protocol, cari je folder tu, semua benda yang korang perlu ada dalam tu. Tak perlu pening-pening cari satu-satu. So pengetahuan barulah kan. Ada stroke thrombolysis folder, ada MTP folder. So, lepas ni boleh start carilah tengok kat mana benda tu berada. So that bila berlaku ke, bila start balik stroke thrombolysis program ni, korang dah tahulah folder tu ada kat mana. For the moment it's suspended. Mungkin akan relaunch balik with some modification lah, sebab layout kita pun dah berubah and this new COVID forces new norms on everyone kan. So mungkin mereka kena ada meeting balik and dengan radiologi tengok flow semua macam mana lah. Okay, tapi be aware lah. Okay, so that lepas ni taklah terkejut sangat. Okay, any other questions kepada yang mana-mana? Ya, Michelle ini.
Yeah, just want to ask, Doctor, if let's say patient has no contraindication, for example, patient with AF and then just initiated on warfarin, and patient dia punya INR is still less than 1.7, for example, is borderline 1.5 or 1.6, and has no contraindication, we consider start this thrombolysis.
We can activate. Our role from our side, kita activate. Ultimately, the decision whether to give thrombolysis or not is up to the stroke team lah. They will, in the end, it's all about risk versus benefit. Tengok NIHSS score berapa, patient clinical condition macam mana, pre-morbid, balance everything and they'll decide lah. It's gonna be unique for each patient lah. Susah sikit nak generalize. Tapi for us, from our side, activate stroke protocol. Activate stroke team, get the CT scan done, ultimately decision is stroke team punya decision lah. Kita tak kacau lah yang tu. So in the end yang nak take care of the patient, yang of the later apa semua is them lah. So our role is mainly to activate and to ensure the early part, the bloods, the CT and everything is done accordingly, so that they have ample time to think, decide, explain to patient dan sebagainya. Okay.
Okay, anyway, worst case scenario where patient like present with both stroke and MI together.
Wow. Kalau ada, in the end, kalau acute stroke is contraindication kan for MI, thrombolysis for MI to start with. So it's gonna be a very unique case lah. What usually happen, biasanya patient present dengan stroke tapi ada ECG changes, which is called apa benda dah, ECG changes related to head injury lah or head insult kan. So that is more common lah. Patient tak ada chest pain, datang dengan neurology or ICB ke apa, tapi ada ECG changes. So be aware lah, that doesn't mean that patient tu ada MI. Tapi kalau patient tu dapat MI dan stroke together, memang Tuhan nak tarik balik dia lah. Macam tak nak bagi chance lah tu. Very bad prognosis lah. Tapi the management is really macam dependent on your clinical assessment at the time. Okay. Sebab kalau MI kan, if you remember, one of the contraindication for thrombolysis in MI, if patient ada recent stroke or have hemorrhagic stroke whatsoever kan. So it's all about balancing the risk and explain to patient lah, and tengok macam mana lah, whether your management will do more harm or ada some benefit from your management. It's not going to be something yang boleh macam just generally lah, patient ada stroke, ada MI, just thrombolyze lah, and it's not as simple as that lah. Okay, any other question? Sorry lah kalau jawapan tu tidak memuaskan hati lah, tapi unfortunately that's how it is lah. Okay, any other questions kepada Tuh ataupun Hakim lah? Dia tak selamat lagi walau dah sampai angkasa lepas ni. Okay, kalau tak ada, okay lah. Thanks everyone. So just be aware lah, moral of the story, carilah folder-folder tu, tengoklah borang-borang yang diperlukan, sebelum korang meninggalkan ED. Yang baru masuk ED, be aware, kotlah dan start balik stroke thrombolysis masa korang ada kat ED. Okay, thanks everyone. Okay,
Thank you,
bye.
Doctor.
Bye.
Okay,